So to continue with the video, this judge, in my opinion, with the evidence that I've provided, willfully lied in her decision in regards to me not showing in my urgent motion my intention to proceed with this. First of all, an urgent motion does not go by itself. It's part of the proceeding in itself. It's like a mini proceeding from the bigger proceeding. But when you have the bigger proceeding, things come up. In this case, there is no way that the action or the intended action could proceed without the urgent situation being addressed first. So whatever actions or applications or whatever it is that I had intended to commence, this urgent situation required that the court look at this situation now, immediately. And that's what an urgent motion is all about. So this judge, she's so full of corruption. She's such a piece of shit. I'm so looking forward to see her also prosecuted in the International Criminal Court. Let me tell you something. I was contacted by the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights several weeks ago in regards to precautionary measures to be taken against Canada. I filled my application out and then they're delaying it. So it's all a game to all of them. I want you to observe this black woman and observe me well. Nothing about what I've said I'm bluffing about. The actions of these people not only cause me irreparable harm, but also physical harm. I just recently got out of the hospital on June 22nd. I was there from the 16th to the 22nd because the situation just aggravated my medical condition so badly that I had to be hospitalized for almost a week. My life was jeopardized because of the actions of these judges and the others who are involved. I have a right to life. I have a right not to face this kind of persecution in Canada. So when I say to you that I'm going to prosecute them in the ICC, that's just what's going to happen. Because even though they don't value my life, I value my life. And I could have been dead right now. They didn't just want to see me homeless. They want to see me die. They want to see me dead. They want to literally see me dead. Because the court already know my medical condition. The court already know that I have some very, very serious ailments and medical conditions. And that the situation when they make these decisions and the situation that they're putting me through is directly having a negative impact on my physical body. These judges, Susan Fraser, Leibovitch, and all of them, they had in their possession medical evidence from licensed medical practitioners in Ontario that the situation that I was in, and I'm still in, is endangering my life by aggravating my existing medical condition. And they did not disregard it. How could you have an impartial judge who is fucking focusing on service to the respondents when you have someone whose physical life is in jeopardy? Which come first? Dealing with that emergency and that physical condition, medical condition the person is in, or the homelessness the person is in, that's going to aggravate their physical condition, or you're going to focus on service on the other parties, which can come later. And like I stated, I was just asking for interlocutory or mandatory order, which in Ontario is 10 days? So it's not a significant delay on the part of the the respondents. In Ontario, it's 10 days for interim order like that. And then I'm asking for everybody to just come back and just file their documents and we deal with it in the court. But in the meantime, deal with my medical situation. In the meantime, deal with the homelessness situation that I was facing or that I'm facing. None of them did that. And you don't tell me that they're criminals or that they shouldn't be tried in the ICC. Of course. They committed cruel and unusual treatment or punishment against me. They committed torture against me. They did all of these things intentionally to cause me harm. All of their actions were deliberately intended to cause me harm, to endanger my life, and to cause me as much suffering as they could possibly, which is torture. Emotional suffering, physical suffering, that's what they were doing. So that I even landed in the hospital because of my medical condition. Was so aggravated by what they were doing. So when I say that they're being prosecuted in the ICC, you can take me at my word, because this black woman does not bluff. I don't play around with my life. And you don't play around with my life either. There's also another point to this, which is that the human rights abuse in Canada need to stop. All of the treaties that it has signed and has not fulfilled its obligations, when it signed those treaties, those need to be exposed. One of the treaties it signed is that it will not discriminate against people of African descent, which I am. So Canada shouldn't just act as if it's better than the United States, because it is actually worse as far as racism. Here I am as a black person. All of my urgent motion went before these judges, these white judges, and they all denied the urgency in my urgent motion, insisting on serving the respondents. Why would you do that? You're not supposed to do that as a judge. You're supposed to be impartial. You're supposed to be fair. It's supposed to be a fair proceeding. You're supposed to not be biased. You're supposed to respect the law. You're supposed to carry out the administration of justice. Instead, you bring disrepute to the law and the administration of justice by your very actions. Because you're saying, in this case, you're a black woman and we're not going to rule in your favor. We're going to cause you harm. These white judges, and before they reach the bench, before they're federally elected, by the way, the Superior Court of Justice judges. So it's a much bigger problem than you realize. Because now they have been elected by the Minister of Justice. And so is he going to condone their actions when they are corrupt? I actually contacted the Minister of Justice office in regards to some of these judges. I wasn't asking him to change their decision because he doesn't have the jurisdiction to do that. But they're corrupt. And they're federally appointed. And they're going up against the very law. And they're targeting select groups of people, marginalized people, vulnerable people. Whether you're vulnerable because you're self-rep, you're vulnerable because you're homeless, you're vulnerable because you belong to a marginalized group. They're doing everything they're sworn not to do, these corrupt judges, and I've named all of them. And Susan Fraser is just another one in a long list of them. Laura Bird, even the senior regional judge, Howard Lipovich, and all of their actions are based on reprisal. They want to cause me not just irreparable harm, but physical harm. And look at me. Maybe I should stand up. Look at this skin black woman. Look at me. It's summer. I'm okay. You intended for your actions to put me 6 feet under But here I am, alive and well. So you didn't succeed because I know how to take care of myself. I'm intelligent, I'm smart, I'm determined. You know, what you people don't know is I'm actually an artist. I'm a very talented artist. I'm a writer by profession. But if you ask me if I regret exposing human rights abuse in Canada rather than to focus on my career as a writer, where I wouldn't even be in this situation today, okay? I would say I am not sorry. I cannot be bought, and I'm going to say it as it is. Canada carries out human rights abuse to the extreme, including torture and crimes against humanity. I could have lived a comfortable life as an artist, as a writer, like so many other black coons in this country, tokens who can be bought. I can't be bought. I'm a Libra. I'm a Libra. Justice is just how I operate. Okay? I could have focused on my 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 work as a writer, as an artist, instead of focusing on human rights abuse. But I am not sorry. I'm not sorry I brought attention to the human rights abuse concerns in Canada. I'm not sorry I exposed corrupt judges. I'm not sorry I was a blogger for 16, 18 years with my blog focusing on human rights abuse. I am a human rights abuse defender in this country. I was and I still am. And I'm not sorry I made that choice. Because I can still be a writer. I'm still a writer. But there are consequences to focusing on human rights abuse and exposing corruption in Canada. You're forced from your home. You're forced to be homeless because that's a tactic that was used against me. And you know, sometimes when I'm homeless, whether CC saw them, they would just park close by where I am and just enjoy the fact that they forced me out of my home. Okay, they forced me to become homeless because I'm a targeted individual. And they get some kind of sick pleasure into carrying out this cruel treatment against me. And then they block me from getting international aid, right? That's what they do. And over the years, I've talked to other people, and they're also blocked. For instance, if their petitions to the IACHR, Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, are never accepted by the IACHR. It's a very corrupt organization because they sent me the application to take precautionary measures against Canada, and they have not responded since I sent it back. They're another one because I found a loophole in there. It's not even a loophole. What because only individuals can be prosecuted in the ICC, not organization. But guess what? The head of an organization can be prosecuted for contributing to human rights abuse. So whoever is head of an organization, a human rights organization, they can be prosecuted in the ICC for allowing, right, for allowing the human rights abuse to take place. So my focus is going to be on whoever the hell is in charge of the IACHR and prosecute them. You think I'm joking? You think I'm joking? I will die trying. Over my dead body. This is gonna proceed in the ICC. By whatever powers that exist in the universe. This is one determined black woman who is not gonna accept no for an answer. I want to see all of them that carry out this human rights abuse, the torture, the crimes against me, and I want to see them prosecuted. I want to send a message. You cannot do this. Not to me, not to any other black person or any person in general, and continue like that. You can't do that. You're corrupt. You're a criminal. You're a criminal in a robe. Just like how you have criminal police officers who dishonor their badges. You have criminal judges who do not deserve to be wearing that robe with the red slash, Criminal JPs too, with the green slash. Criminal lawyers, all of these people. Canada is based on corruption. Okay? It's time this gets out. And when someone speaks out like me, they now carry out human rights abuse against them. The whole of them. Very few judges in this country ever regard my human rights or ever regard my constitutional rights. For some reason, they all get involved in this much bigger conspiracy to deny that. So my job is to make sure that this doesn't continue to happen, not to me, not to anyone else. And like I said, I did not have to be in this position today where I am homeless and I'm taking the court, the local government to court because they want to force me out of the shelter. I am actually a writer by profession. And because I focus on human rights instead of focusing on myself and my career and all of those things. But like I said at the beginning, I do not regret it at all. It was worth it because it was necessary. A lot of people wouldn't do what I do. I know all of them. Okay, we all started out the same, and they're now far more successful, far more advanced. But when it comes to talent, they know that they don't have anything over me as a writer. So, but they all focus on their careers and they get the grants and they get the money and all of these things and they live a peaceful life. And I could have done all of that. But I wouldn't get any fulfillment out of that because I see something that's wrong in society, in Canadian society. I saw something wrong. I saw a problem that needed to be addressed. And I did on my blog that I had for like 16, 18 years, exposing human rights abuse in Canada as a human rights defender. So if this is and they would routinely work with my landlords, do all of these things to force me from my home. That is one tactic that they use. Homelessness. Because it works so well. I should have been broken by now. I should have been on the street. I am on the street. I should have been like crazy and I should have been like hopeless, and all of these people who I see on a daily basis on the streets cannot get back on their feet on their own. I've been able to do that on my own. Look at me. I was in the hospital for a week almost with some serious medical conditions. And like I said, I know how to take care of myself. But just because I happen to be looking like this, healthy and everything, that doesn't mean everything is okay with me. So, but they want to cause my death. They want to cause my death. Or they want to see me go crazy. Neither one of them is going to happen until I get what I want in this situation. So I just want to focus back on this little corrupt piece of shit, this Judge Susan Fraser. And I was looking at her stuff online, before She became a judge. Like I said, they curated their professional activities so that it leads to that, their goal of becoming judges. And then once they become judge, then you can see their true racist personality. Then you can see none of what they were doing was sincere. Okay, disingenuous. Nothing, none of